Yo, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? I would like to thank you guys for tuning in to Only the Realist. I hope that you guys have all had a wonderful day out there. And be mindful that this reading will not resonate with every single one of you. There are millions of energies on planet Earth. And without further ado, we're going to jump right in. This is going to be a life reading. And our first energy out here is the Page of Cups. The Three of Swords. There we go. So we're managing something of within matters of the heart here, okay? So there's some type of restart with the emotions, okay? A certain understanding that you've come to within yourself about these emotions. You know, something has damaged you in a way, but for enlightenment, right? When we feel shame, right, or disappointment, or we are in a state of guilt, or we are, you know, emotional or crying. These are typically moments where the universe will grant us enlightenment, right? Which is, you know, it's that ego death, right? And this can be on the positive side of things or the negative side of things, right? The ego is not only for negative things, you know. For example, when you have a relationship, right, and this can matter of friends, family, or matters of the heart, you know, you come to a place where you understand what ego is, right? And that is what you're giving to another, right? And what you're giving to another allows them to grow, right? And as they're growing, sometimes people don't see that all of the things that you've given them has boosted their ego, right? But if they're not in the right state of mind, they will use that ego against you. You see? So there is a balance of the ego. You know, I know a lot of times people talk about, oh, you know, your ego is, you know, it's like you don't really care about people or you think you're better. No. It's about how you're understanding your individual self, having courage, bravery, honesty, being truthful. All of these things also surround your ego. That's why you can see people with success in their life, and you'll have two sides. You'll have one side where the person is positive, they have a good mindset, right? They've created a good family, right? And their ego is still there. They're confident, they have bravery, they're honest, they're trustworthy, and they're truthful, and they have integrity, right? But then you have the other side, right? Where that's just the complete opposite, right? They come to a place in their life, right, where they have all of these things they've accumulated, but their ego allowed everything else to disappear because they didn't understand how to use their power. We all have the choice, the will, and even the thought to do things in the other way, which is the negative way, right? But telling yourself, right, being honest with yourself and knowing that that's not, you know, that's not a good thing, right? We have free will, right? And this is how how we can examine and analyze people, right? We have free will, right, to go this positive route or to go this negative route. That's free will. You can do it if you want to, right? It's no, there are consequences, but there's no boundary that keeps you from going through either door. You know that the door says negative, you know that the door says positive. Whichever side each individual decides to go through, you can look, there's no illusion there. You can look at that person and say, this person used their free will to go down that path. Which is why it's called free will. To do as you please, but understand the consequences of whichever route you take. It's pretty plain and simple, but life is complicated, and a lot of times people cannot go through that, that armor to see it for what it truly is. Okay. So I went on up for a little rant. Okay. We have the moon. Okay. Yeah, there's some curiosity there. All right. Yeah, you feel this change coming along, okay? And this is for matters of the heart for a lot of you here, okay? There's some type of, restart with someone or a new beginning with someone, right? But for others of you, for the internal, this is definitely a decision to, let these emotions flourish, right? Yeah. Not only was it the bottom of the deck, it's now here in the reading. We have the Three of Swords. And we have death, or the devil here. Okay. So, oof. All right. So this is allowing you to see change. Okay. This is allowing you to see change. Yeah. A lot of, you know, a lot of strikes to the emotions is, you know, it creates a type of change, right? It can go up or it can go down, you know, depending on who you decide to be at the end of the day, right? Things change people, but it's up to you to decide if you're going to allow hurtful experiences to make you into something that you're not. Okay? We have the Four of Wands with the Four of Cups. Yeah. It's a celebratory energy here. Neglecting your emotions has been a huge, you know, play in your life, right? Making it to where, you know, you thought you were comfortable in that place, but coming to the realization that happiness is temporary and it only comes from yourself sometimes. We're social beings, and a lot of our happiness comes from other people. What we can do for them, how we can make them feel, you know, what kind of experiences we can give them. Other than that, you know, our own solitude is only temporary because life continues. So when you find yourself sitting, you know, without the real understanding of how that energy of happiness is created, it's not simply removing your emotions from everything that can give it power. You know, I watched a few YouTube shorts, and I've also talked to some people who were older, and throughout their life they made a lot of money, but they said that they were not happy. When you run out of places to experience, when you run out of things that you like to buy, when you run out of not having to go out and actually do human activities to be or understand or feel comfortable being alive. And that runs in sync with the ego. And when you have power, just know how to use it. We can have power in our mind, we can have power in our emotions, we can have power in our spirituality. But all of those things doesn't matter, can be used in the other way as well. I can use my mind to harm you. I can use my emotions to harm you. I can use my spirituality to harm you, right? We see it every day. And it's just understanding about, if you have it, learn how to use it right. Because there will always be consequences. And we all know when our consequences show up for us. Because we feel it, and our pulse, right? The energy will tell us, like, this is because I did this. You don't have to, you don't have to go through the storage in the mind to say, what did I do wrong for this to happen? No. The experience itself will come back in that moment, right? It will say, hey, these are the consequences of your actions. No one else outside of you will know that consequences showed up for you until after the consequences happen. We understand what mistakes are. Because mistakes are things that we do not know. And we experience them, and then we know. We have 3 of Wands. And we have the King of Wands as well, okay? And this is where the exploration begins, okay? You're waiting to have this new flow of energy coming through here, right? This is a playful energy too, something that's it's reviving, right? I'd like to say that. It's reviving. There we go. Not only was at the bottom of the deck, it's now here in the reading. We have the Devil with the Page of Swords. Yeah, initiating that change so that positive flow of being able to receive can come in, right? Being able to receive, right? It's good to have a change of heart and understanding when you know that you're struggling with things that have been difficult, right? Cups with the Nine of Cups. Yeah. So, fulfillment of emotions here. Okay, a lot of you guys are, you know, creating a family. There's just a lot of, you know, wanting to have health, you know, more of a healthier pattern of growth, right? You see you lowering, you know, lowering those things that harmed you, okay? Yeah, you had a whole blockade here. You know, an entire blockade where your emotions were completely shut down. But what you really wanted was outside of that. And for you to be able to live in that, you need to, right? You have to process things. It's always good to have someone that you can trust to, you know, to release things to, right? And not just in a venting way, right? There are things that we have within us that cannot just be, you know, shaved away by, you know, not confronting it, right? Which is why secrets or things that people keep to themselves for a long period of time, it starts to eat at them, right? That's because you're actually wanting to express it or tell it or say it, right? Because this allows it to be removed from you. But I know that it's difficult for people to do that. It's difficult for people to sit down with someone and say, hey, I want to just, you know, say these things, right? Because these things are heavy on my heart, they're heavy in my mind, heavy in my spirit, and I don't have any other way to release it but to, you know, and I understand that it's difficult to find moments like that for people, right? But you know, if you ever do find yourself in that space, you know, try to release it, right? I mean, it's either that or you can always go to therapy too. But that's still the same thing. All you're doing is paying someone to tell them what you can tell someone that you love and trust. It's the same thing. You know, although there's a lot of trust and you know, communication and things that come through with not having a therapy, right? Or not having a therapist, but I think it's more human, more real life if you can just find someone that you love and trust and you can just kind of do that for yourself. You know what I mean? That's just how I see it, though. Okay, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. All right. Analyzing everything you have here, we have the Ten of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. All right. Yeah. There's an understanding of I don't have a lot now, but I'm creating, right? I'm creating what is needed, right? Because you have a clear understanding to how you're, how you want, to take steps here. And it's good to have that, right? That analyzation of, all right, well, this space may not be where I need it to be yet, but I'm making progress to that, right? Yeah, not only was it the bottom of the deck, it's down here in the reading, and we have the Death as well. Yeah, we have that transformation coming through. This entire reading has completely been about the turnaround that is needed, that is preparing itself right now for you, right? Yeah, this exact thing, that transformation. There we go. We have the Seven of Swords with the Five of Cups. Okay. Yeah. letting things be back there, right? You're keeping quiet as you proceed into this transformation that you have here. Okay. Yeah. Keeping to yourself. Yeah. Because there is a victory within yourself. Or being to yourself. You're with the Queen of Swords, yeah. It's no BS energy, right? Very direct right now. The Nine of Wands, the Ten of Swords, yeah. With endings come new beginnings, yeah. Whatever has felt like it has, crashed down on you, it is always going to restart, and that restart is beginning now for you. Okay, we have the Nine of Wands. Not only did we have the walls of the emotions torn down, we have the walls of the energy torn down as well, right? Not giving any energy, not giving any emotion, just kind of like floating around in your own reality for a while, but that is to find reasoning, okay? Anyways, guys, that's all that I have for you. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. I would really like to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys have been with the gang, I love you guys so much. Mystique, and I'll catch you guys next time.